Every club. Every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to the Daily Southampton by the Global Sports Podcast Network. I am your host, Zachingo Finch, joined by my co-host, Gregory Elliott. How you doing, mate?
All right, mate. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. We're still technically in what we refer to as the Crimbo Limbo, which means we don't have a clue what we're doing when we're going anywhere. Everything's a bit topsy-turvy. I'm pretty sure...
What day is it?
When this preview comes out, bonus episode, by the way, pretty sure it's a Saturday. However,
I think that's the date that's been mythically referred to in the plan-making process as the 28th, which felt like a long way away. Yeah.
Mythical dates. See, this is the thing, like, you know, as you being a parent, your life is very much around plans and dates. And mine is usually based around one specific day of the week or one specific day of the month where I dread getting to that point and then finally do a plan right before. But, you know, you don't care about our lives that much. We probably tell you a bit too much, if I'm totally honest. But that's part of the fun. We are here today to talk about our game against Crystal Palace tomorrow. Is everyone excited?
I think so, mate. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm ready for some more football. It's not enough in this festive period, is there?
There is never enough in this festive period. As I've alluded to previously, my entire Christmas has been the most sport-filled it's ever been, and it's been fantastic. It's been so much fun to be able to watch nothing but football and American football and eat lots of food and see a lot of family and all of that good stuff.
At time of recording, tomorrow is the day that the darts takes over, right? So...
Okay. I think, to be honest, at some point I'm probably just going to have to have a lie down because I've just spent too much time doing stuff, seeing people.
Sky Sports subscription pays for itself, though.
For sure. I think that, the darts is a problem in my household because my wife does not like darts, and I cannot have that in the background unless it's something where she is not in the room. And I've learned to live with that. It's fine. I'm allowed to watch probably a lot more sport than, you know, I should, considering how much I take over the TV nowadays. I say that not because I'm not allowed. It's more that I have my computer in the corner with my two screen setup, where I spend the vast majority of my time being the nerdy guy that I am. So my wife gets the TV. So when I then take it from her, it's like whatever area she does get, I try and sort of slowly hijack all of the technology. But either way, I'm very much looking forward to a Sunday game against Crystal Palace. I don't know how I feel about it. I feel like we are in a positive, jovial mood, but Palace have sort of gone through not a huge resurgence, but they've got some wins and some draws under their belt recently.
No, mate, they're not in the best run of form. Like, they beat
but
Spurs, but who hasn't?
Us, mate. Spurs beat us 5-0.
Don't worry about that. We don't need to be bringing up. That was a different lifetime, Zach. We were in a completely different place back then.
It genuinely feels like that. Like, the fact that that's the night that Russell Martin went is just wild, because it feels like 100 years ago and subsequently only yesterday. Yeah. Because I feel like we've only had our new manager for like a couple of days. And admittedly, he's only been here, it'll be a week at this point. But he was only with us at the point, you know, it was 2 weeks. It's been 2 weeks, but yet so much has happened, yet nothing at all. Because the results have pretty much been the same. So how do we line up and how do we play against Crystal Palace? How have we done historically? So we have technically not beaten Palace in the league since 2021. Which was a 3-1 win under Ralph Hasenhüttl with 2 goals from Danny Ings and 1 from Che Adams. And to age everyone and make them realise how long ago that actually was, Benteke scored for Palace. So,
wow.
That's how long. We have also beat them in the last couple of years in 2023 in the FA Cup, a 2-1 win under Nathan Jones, which I don't remember that game at all. James Ward-Prowse and Adam Armstrong scored.
Baffling.
Patrick Vieira was the manager of Palace at the time. So, yeah, that's. Then the last couple of games, our last game against them was a 2-0 loss under Selhurst when they had Hodgson and Eze scored twice. So, Palace are one of the teams that I think I am most surprised are where they are in the table this season, similar to Wolves, I think. And we have, weird run of form against Palace. So I don't know how confident I am, but also
It
hoping
feels
we
like
can still
one
ride
of
off
the
of the
teams that we should be
positivity.
targeting to get points from in this
100%.
resurgence. So it feels like if we don't get anything from this game, it's a real letdown after also not getting anything from West Ham.
I think I'd agree to that. They seem to, regardless of where we think they should be, or where I think they should be, they are around us and should be a team that we try and target. And we've seen what we can do a little bit more now. Players have got a couple of days of rest, but it seems like we can, if we can kind of get going, get into gear, if we can just get that first goal under the Zurich rain, I think that would be. I know this is what we kept talking about previously. I know you said a lot, Greg, under when we had Archer. It was like if you can just get that first goal, yeah, I think that's it. That's it, because we're clearly getting, we can clearly move the ball into the right areas now, which is something I just thought we were incapable of doing under Russell Martin. Like it felt like we were never able to get the ball into the right place. We have shown we are capable of doing that. It's just who are going to be the personnel that lead the charge to do that for us. And if we start to fall in love with players that do that, are they immediately going to go back to their parent clubs in January? I.e., Ugochukwu,
yeah,
a player that
Mignolet's
I have
coming
given.
good. I don't think he's at risk of going back to Chelsea if he starts playing good ball, because Chelsea have 53 million players already.
This is also true, but they might loan him out elsewhere because he's not been getting the minutes they wanted.
But he's good. But he's going to become a part of the fold. He looks happy. He looks good. I think it's a good position. Matty Fernandez as well. I don't even think we actually talked about him in the review yesterday, but just consistently still one of our best players.
Well,
it's just crazy.
This is the thing, and I can say this because we're not on a crossover, but every time we're asked in the crossover about how amazing Tyler Dibbling is, the player that I am consistently referring to as the player that I don't want anyone else to look at is Matheus Fernandes, because I noticed a couple of the commentary guys speak about him on Sky, like, he's a bit of a shrewd bargain for the Saints, sort of like 15 million from Sporting Lisbon. He looks like he might come good, and I'm almost kind of, I know that Tyler Dibbling is one of our own and is been a bit of a sensation for us this season, but Fernandes is one of those ones where I'm like, please, if you want to spend all your time and you want to put £45 million into an up and coming English player, go for gold. Just leave Fernandes alone.
He looks
That's
like
kind of where I'm at.
He's really a critical part of our midfield, and actually, like last season, Flynn Downs played that critical role in the midfield for us, and it feels less so this season. It feels like Fernandes has really been the one carrying that weight for basically the entire season so far. And yeah, he's so creative and so involved in our build up to creativity, but also really solid. He's the first name on the team sheet for me, bar none.
Agreed. We will carry on our informal, formal, structured, not structured chat.
Predicted 11s, I think we do now.
There we go. After a word from our partners at Zencaster.
So here at the Global Sports Podcast Network, we spent a lot of time selecting our delivery platform, and Zencaster came out the clear winner. With 4K video recording from your phone and AI editing that automatically removes all those ums and ahs, it's super easy to start a podcast that sounds great and is delivered efficiently. If you're ready to tell your story, check out the link in the show description and learn more about Zencaster.
Right, Mr. Greg, what are your predicted 11s? So obviously Rambo in goal, right?
Yeah, it's got to be. I don't want to see Alex McCarthy playing golf for us again this season.
For a long
and I love
time.
Alex McCarthy, but he's fine on the bench.
Perfect.
Yeah, Rambo, I don't see us changing from this back five. Woods, Howard Bellis and Bednarek really have been solid last couple of games. They've looked like they've got their system and their organisation down as a back three.
This is one of the things that so obviously I don't know if we've discussed it. We might have, we might not have. As I said, it's the 19th of December at this point. I think we might have actually discussed it off the podcast, but obviously we've had news come out around Armel Bella-Kotchap giving an interview, And I kind of don't know how I feel about the fact that realistically, it seems like he just wants to get back into the Premier League side to move to a bigger club. He has apparently been told that he is part of the new manager's plans, yet wasn't in either the squad or the subs, but he was in the stadium. I know that I saw that there was like fan photos with him, and I think he was sort of in the back room, so it might just be a fitness thing coming back into the fold. The problem I have is who do you replace with him? Because you're right, Bednarek is, well, by the looks of it, going to be our captain maybe going forward, and I think that'd probably be the right move. It's the longest servant in the club who I think actually cares. Yeah, he had his little weird spell where he went to Villa for a bit, but he realised that that wasn't the case and has just signed a new 5-6 year contract or whatever with us. You know, Taylor Harwood-Bellis is, for me, one of the first names on the team sheet every week, and he clearly cares about the club, plays well, as you
100%.
pointed out, is really adapted to the new system in the one game we've seen him in. And Nathan Wood's finally got his chance and is playing well also. I don't think he really made a mistake. Sure, he got the yellow on.
Really put a foot wrong,
No,
really,
not
in the
to the
scheme of
level.
things. I think that it will be Nathan Wood that potentially gets rotated out, but I think it will be more of a rotational thing than a
Because that's the thing.
permanent
Because I
solution.
know a lot of people. I think the other thing that you maybe everyone needs to temper is their expectations. Like, Armabella Kotchap hasn't played since what? Like, when did he play against Cardiff? I think he's not played since then. He's not played in the under-21s. He had a couple of appearances for the loan club he was at last season before getting injured, and before that, it was the relegation season previously where he had a couple of good games, but also had some long-term injuries out. So it's kind of like, not only do I feel sort of like I don't really understand where the hype comes from that he's going to be like the best player in our sort of defense, but also I feel bad for the level of expectation on a player when they come back, because there's kind of the similar thing to Paul Onuachu, right? Like, we kind of came back and we didn't quite understand the hype, and I think that in certain aspects he's definitely lived up to it. As I said, he's blown the roof off, but I don't think there was that level of bad taste in your mouth around him not being in the side as much as a player that said that his sole ambition is to get first league football, like, first team football, to basically just immediately leave. I can't work out if the sort of I can't work out if it's refreshing to at least hear someone be honest about playing for us, in the sense of they know it's a stepping stone, or it's extremely disrespectful, or maybe a bit of both. But where I'm at is, it's difficult for me in my head to see who we would move to let him in. But if he does come in, as you're right, it's probably for Wood, and
I
he
think
plays
it'll
really,
just
really
be
well.
rotational, and I think it'll probably be from Wood, and I think it'll be fine. There's going to be you can't expect to have the same starting 11 every game when games come thick and fast like they do. So we're going to need those fringe players, and I mean,
But it's nice,
centre
right?
back
That
is
potentially
somewhere else we're struggling with, and that's what we bring Jack Stevens back. And I don't think anyone really
you
wants to
never
see
know,
that.
because I feel I can't. He was supposed to theoretically be back today, but
Yeah,
apparently he's picked up an
he's
injury.
no longer suspended, so
Yeah, apparently it was some sort of injury in training, which it might just be. Who knows? There's no point speculating on that stuff. But
yeah,
I think that having potential competition for the centre backs would be good as well, because you have to raise your game to get into the side, and that's
yeah.
where some of the forward play is. It baffles me that they're not staking their claim when they got on the pitch, because there's a couple of players that have put in really, really poor performances and haven't even made it onto the bench, and yet others that are getting on and starting and bits and
Yeah,
pieces. So
if we do see Bellicott, I don't think he'll be from the starting lineup. I think that back three stays the same. I think Walker Peters stays
do
in.
you reckon he stays left?
I think so. Well,
You
I
don't think
actually
he'll go
no.
to the right and
I
have
think
Manning
he'll
on?
go. I think we'll go right and bring Manning on, because I think Yuki probably won't make the starting 11. We might see him off the bench, but I mean, I really like Yuki, but he's got a mistake in him, and
Yeah,
he's proved
this is
that
the
time and
problem.
time.
Like,
This isn't the first time
he's
that
done something
he's
like that,
done that
right?
either. So
Like, his forward play is good, defensive play pretty bad, and
yeah,
the problem is that the forward play isn't good enough to warrant the defensive errors. And I
yeah,
think
no,
he
you're
was
right.
he was hooked immediately when he made an error and the goal was conceded last game for Bree.
Yeah,
I just don't think, for me, Bree outshines Walker Peters,
no,
and I
or
think
Manning.
Manning
I
on the
think
left is
Manning's
better.
actually been fantastic for us so
It's
far this
weird,
season.
right?
Yeah,
Really, really
baffling.
odd.
Doesn't
No
make
one
sense.
thought that would happen, and
No.
I'm all here for it though. Like, he's played
Yeah.
solidly, and
And then, yeah, probably Big Les, Flynn Downs, Matty Fernandez, leaving 2 up front. Maybe we see Archer and Tallpool that we have been asking for so long.
I just feel like the universe is against it at this point.
I don't know if we'll see Tallpool start because we've
He was
seen
knackered, mate, after 45 minutes.
we've seen previously that he doesn't really have 90 minutes in him, and then he played 90 minutes against West Ham. So I would be very surprised if we see him start the game. But I still think we'll probably see him feature later on. But
why do you think Armstrong doesn't get the start?
do you know? I don't know. We didn't really talk about it in the review. God, we missed so much.
The problem was there was a lot to pack in for 20 minutes, and there was because of the 6 substitutions, there were significantly more players to talk about.
He does a lot of work off the ball, Armstrong, that you might not get credit for or see a lot of, especially if you're watching sort of on the TV. But he does so much work off the ball, pressing and just running at players and just making a nuisance of himself, which is good. But when he's on the ball, it just doesn't anywhere near what he did last season, unfortunately. He misplaced, I think, 2 or 3 passes.
Well, that's the thing, as you pointed out. As a person that watched it on TV today, I had the opportunity to go, but today, whenever I watched the game, we're doing lots of recording at weird times, guys. Sorry. When I watched the game, obviously, as you pointed out, I'm not really watching a lot of the off the ball stuff going on. Especially, I know that the stadium views are very, very different. And when I've been with you, we've ended up seeing, like I said, when we saw that argument between Stevens and Lumley and lots of bits and pieces. So you don't really see it as much. So the problem is the things that I did see was him driving forward, but not really getting anything with it. And I think the one point that stuck out in my mind was him hoofing it back to Ramsdale for what seemed to be the most ridiculous reason from about the halfway line. And because of that, I'm kind of in agreement that you're not really going to see him much.
He really does do a lot off the ball, which I think is going to be valued by Juric because he's a high pressing, high pressure manager, and I think that work will go noticed. But I don't know if him and Archer together really works. But then also, I don't know who else you put up there with Archer that would play that same sort of role that you'd want alongside him. So.
What Fringe do we reckon any of the Fringe players will get a chance? Because I don't even know if Maxwell Cornet's here anymore. We've not seen him.
He couldn't have played today even if he wanted to, because he was against his parent club.
But we've not really seen. And obviously, you pointed out we talked about Sulemana in the last episode, and that was kind of. I don't really understand where all the managers are seeing what they're seeing, but I think Brereton Diaz didn't even get in the squad last game. But this is my point. It's so maybe we'll have to trim up and find somebody.
I mean, obviously it comes down to what the new manager sees in them in training, but actually, Brereton Diaz and Cameron Archer as a central forward duo doesn't sound like the worst thing in the world.
Ultimately, we just need to
Diaz
get
has
goals,
some hold up in him that I've seen from what little he has managed to do for us this season, and Archer, we really think benefits from that with someone to run off. So,
well, we'll get some score predictions under our belt based off of absolutely nothing apart from the thoughts of our brain. So we are much more of a vibes podcast than a stats podcast. After a word from our sponsors at the Global Sports Podcast Network. The Global Sports Podcast Network is changing the face of football podcasting with dedicated daily content for every Premier League team, women's football, fantasy football, and a daily Premier League wrap-up broadcasted in 5 different languages. This is your one-stop shop for your daily football fix. Find GSPN wherever you find your usual podcasts. So back to it. I guess, we talk about score prediction. We talked about sort of what we think the lineups are going to be. I'm pretty much in agreement with you. I think, I only think that my only real change would be potentially Archer Fonomachu, and that's only because I saw him absolutely exhausted. So I'll roll over to yourself, mate, for the first score prediction. What do you reckon?
Okay, so if we look historically at the stats, this is not a high-scoring game. But
is this your AI website?
this is one of my stats websites, right?
Good,
But we look
perfect.
over history, and it's not the highest scoring game. There's like a 41% chance of it being over 2.5 goals, supposedly. But Palace do score at home pretty consistently. So 3-1 Saints.
Your same score prediction as last week. Last game.
Yeah.
Both of us were wrong though. To be fair, you had 3-1 to win. I had 3-2 to lose. It ended up 1-0.
Yeah.
I know. So I thought I'd go with history that time, and it ended up being, shows maybe we defended better than we actually give the guys credits for. But I'm potentially going to go with a 2-1 because I reckon they'll go 1-0 up and maybe we'll get 2 back. And I'm basing that entirely off of the fact that the last game we played, we definitely should have scored some. And I think that Archer can score those goals. Whether or not he'll have the hold up, who knows? Maybe him and Paul get on the ball at the same time, on this pitch at the same time. Be lovely to see. So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Like, I don't really know. Historically, we've always struggled against Palace for some reason. I feel like they would be better off having us as rivals than Brighton, to be perfectly honest. So then again, at the moment, I think anyone having us as rivals, actually, tell a lie, anyone having City as rivals, which I know is mean that, we shouldn't also jump on the making fun of City train, but it's just so
It's
easy.
funny though, isn't it?
You can only win so many things in a row without every team not liking you. It's just how it is.
We were not bottom of the form table in November because of them. So what more can you ask for?
Oh, good times. So so that's a 3-1 for you, 2-1 for me. I reckon Archer with
Matty
both those
Fernandez.
goals. Yeah, you think he's finally getting on?
Yeah, Matty Fernandez with the goal. Tall Paul and Cameron
Risky,
Archer.
mate, risky. That's nice. I like it. They're all players that deserve a goal in them, I think.
Too many forward players. Maybe I need to. I've been off.
You've separated it off.
Header. It's got to be. We can't get that many goals and not have at least one of them come from the defence because
that's just not how we work this season. I don't know. Either way, like I'm actually looking forward to the game. I'm not. I don't have a sense of unbridled fear and worry. Because that's what happens. I'm always the opposite of you. You get close to the game and you're buzzing and you think you're going to win. Or I get close to the game and I'm going to be like, oh no, am I going to sit through 90 minutes of hell again and get more and more annoyed and upset? And that's usually what happens. So
I can't tell whether this positivity that I'm feeling towards it is really coming from like writing off the season or because I really feel truly like there's change coming. And I think it is the latter, and I hope it is the latter, but also maybe it's just because it doesn't matter. Championship will be fun.
yeah, like I think you've seen Jurek previously take teams up from Serie B to Serie A. Hopefully he'll stick with us if the games go well. Who knows? My only fear is that I have this weird vision in the back of my mind that he does really well with us and we just about get relegated and then he stays with us for half the championship and then he does like Hollis Corporand at West Brom and just leaves us halfway through for a more exciting Italian opportunity. That's my only fear, but the fact that I'm able to think that far into the future and have such a positive sort of vibe around him is nothing but a good thing in my opinion. So
yeah, absolutely.
With that, we'll roll into the game. Thank you very much for joining me today, Greg. As always, mate, it's good fun. Obviously, thank you to all of our wonderful listeners. Catch us all on all of the social media: Twitter, TikTok, Blue Sky, X, Blue X, Blue Sky, Instagram, TikTok. Never going to get used to that. YouTube, anywhere else that you might find people posting about things they make. And if you fancy giving us a review, please go. We really enjoyed some of the comments over the festive period. It's been lovely. So yeah, have a wonderful day, everybody, and hopefully we'll get a Saints win on Sunday.
Every club, every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.